first?
Not
Or
yet.
that? Okay.
All right. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jason Herman. I am the Director of Project Management and Government Affairs here at BioTrack. We are going to host 3 different sessions today and probably next month and the month after, during which we will cover what's on this agenda here. We'll have a session for cultivation, which is this one for processing, and one for dispensation. We're going to go over kind of some key things that our support team has reported. You know, they get a lot of tickets about. We will be recording this. We'll be sharing it out. One thing I do want to go over is where we share and where our documentation and our help is. So I'm going to share a different window right now. Once I figured that part out, good old Zoom. I'm going to share this. This is our website. Lots of good stuff on it, mainly resources, knowledge center. Here we keep all of our our training and our support documentation. One thing you can do is you can search if you know exactly what you're looking for. If you don't, but you know, okay, I'm a cultivator, you can focus on clicking on this button and it will then filter out just the topics that work for you. Or you can go down here and say, I want to see all of the BioTrack state traceability. This will bring you to all of the documentation that we have regarding the state-provided licensee interface. So here you can load more. Trending articles are on your left. Again, you can search for very specific items and it will bring them up for you. Let's just do a quick view of this. This is converting inventory. You know, we include screenshots and the actual steps to go through. Just something that, you know, is a very good resource that I don't know if enough people know about. So from here, I'm going to turn it over to Angela Nelson, who is our lead trainer, and she's going to go through our agenda for the day. And if there's some time left, we will open it up for some questions and answers.
All right. I'm gonna take over the screen share from you.
All right, and I'm gonna stop sharing my video.
All right. And you are already there. You're already recording. So perfect. So as hopefully many of you know, this is your login screen. It is the New Mexico traceability. You can get it at the mcp-tracking.nmhealth.org. For a cultivator, when you log in, you want to select the producer and processor login button right here on the screen, which will bring you to your login. Before we actually log in, we're going to cover your password. Your password does expire. So if you try to log in and you get a lovely invalid username or password from the screen, you will want to select the forgot your password. From here, you'll enter in your email and your UBI. Now, multiple users can have login credentials for this, but it has to be created once you log into the system. I will show you that. Once you hit reset now, it should send you an email link to reset your password. You'll want to go to your email and follow the prompts. Now, for some reason, you don't get that reset password link. You will want to go to your email and send an email to nmhealth@biotrackthc.com, and then that way we can assist you further from there. I'm going to go ahead and log in. So with your email, password, and your UBI. Get this guy going. And there we are. So I am now on the main floor of the cultivation tab. You'll also see your inventory tab shown here. From your administration tab, you can create additional users from the admin users, add new user. You can even modify users from there as well. Really straightforward, email, password, confirm the password, and you can make them an admin if you want. Admins can create additional users. They can also modify users. I'm going to select the inventory. We're going to go through the agenda. I might not go in the exact order of operation, but we will cover the agenda workflows. And once you log in, I'm going to start with just strain creation. Strain creation you can find from the shortcut on the right-hand side of the inventory tab. You can also find it from the cultivation tab. It's over here on the right-hand side. Both buttons are the same. And in here, if you select it, you can view your existing strains or you can create a new strain. So you just type in the name there. Like if I was going to add Blue Dream, select that and hit save. I didn't check if that was already in there, but we have two now. This is the one I just added. This is the one before. So that is just creating the strain name. It's not actually bringing in any inventory. There are multiple ways that you can actually bring in your inventory, and I'm going to go over your open window. And this is to create seeds, clones, or plants bring into your system. Now your window has to be open. So in order to see that, if you go to your new inventory, you'll see the screen here. You might also see 30-day window or 30-day inventory on that new inventory shortcut. It is the same workflow. Now in here, you can select your strain after you created your strain creation. The type, you'll see seed in here, clone. I'm going to start with seed and the quantity. So if we enter 10 and hit OK, then you can select add. It gets it into the ready position. It's not in the system just yet. But from here, you can keep working your way down the line. Clone, and we'll do a different quantity, maybe 20, and then add. Now, if you're done and if your window is going to remain open for however long, you can then hit create and you can come back to this screen until your window is actually closed. So I'm going to hit create and then proceed. That then generates your barcodes for your inventory on these plants. Now, if you get a there is no source error message where it says something like you do not select a source when you hit create, that more than likely means that your window is closed. So if your window is closed, you will want to reach out to ccd.compliance@rld.nm.gov in order to get that window extended. And keep in mind, if they tell you that your window is open until, let's say, 6/15/23, you have on till 6/14 at 11:59 p.m. So once it hits midnight and starts over to the 15th, that window is closed. So keep that in mind. In there in your inventory, once you hit that create, if your window is open, you'll be able to see your clones. You can and seeds. I entered in the blueberry and the AK right here. So from there, you'll have them in your inventory. Now to get them over into your cultivation side, specifically clones, you'll want to go to your cultivation tab and hit new plant. From here, you'll want to select this source ID because we're going to be sourcing from the inventory. When you select that, you'll see every clone or seed that's inside of your inventory tab that you can source from. We'll start with this AK-47. We have 10. You'll want to update the quantity. You don't have to bring all of them over from your inventory either. You could select 5 or whatever other number. I'm just going to do the full quantity. You can then select the unique birth date for these group of plants, whether that's when the seed pops, when it sprouted roots, or when you physically planted it, potted it, put it in the ground. You can also make them all mothers upon entry, print the barcode. I'm just going to select OK and proceed. And that actually put it in the one existing room that I have in the grow house. We can see the AK are now in there. There's some other plants in there as well from 13 days ago. You can filter. So there's the 0 day. So those are the ones that I just added. Go back to the rooms. As I mentioned, I have one room. You can create rooms from the shortcut for your cultivation. On the far right-hand side, we have a rooms button. You can see the existing rooms where you can rename them or even delete them. Just ensure there's no plants inside of that room if you do delete. I'm going to put just a veg room in there and hit save, where you can then see on the left-hand side now we have this one veg room. We select that, there's nothing in there. But if we go back to this other room, you could select these plants. And at the very bottom of the screen, select move and move them into a different room from there. With a quick OK, those plants have been removed from the one NR room and they are now in the veg room. You can also select plants for destruction. You do have a 72-hour hold period and you are required to put in a reason. And then just notes down here. You'll see a status on your plants. That's what the status bar is. The status bar will also let you know if it's scheduled for destruction, scheduled for harvesting, and I think it'll also tell you if it's a mother or not. You can also move plants into inventory. If you select to move to inventory, that will put that plant directly in there. If you double click on it, it'll bring you to your modify plant screen. You can also change the room that the plant is in here. You can also select this to make it a mother. Some quick actions, and this would be one plant at a time. You could transfer this one into inventory, print it, or destroy this one, and even harvest it. I made this one a quick mother. I'm going to just refresh. This guy is a mom. Has that mother plant icon. Now with that mother, since I created that guy as a mom, if we go back over to inventory, if you ever need to pop your own seeds or get clones from there that you don't want on the cultivation side, you can go to new inventory and source ID from this screen. This source ID is different from the one in the grow house. This sees any mom that you currently have listed in your cultivation, but this will then allow you to then pull seeds and drop them into your inventory. That does not need a window open. That's pulling your own seeds or clones from your existing mothers inside of your plant. So you don't need a window to be open for that. You would need the window to be open if it was brand new seeds or brand new genetics or initial inventory. That's how you would clone from a mother. You can also pull seeds. Let's see. Very similar to the cultivation rooms, the cultivation rooms are over here on the shortcut. You also have inventory rooms. The rooms are also found on the shortcut on the far right-hand side. Inventory rooms, you'll by default have a bulk inventory room and a quarantine room. You can't delete the bulk inventory room on the inventory side or rename it, but you can always add additional rooms for your own organization. You just select the name in here, type it out. And I've seen plenty of different naming conventions for cultivators. It could be packaging, ready to sell, set up by vendor. So that way you can create manifests out of that particular room. Makes it easy to see what product you're going to put on the manifest as well. So it's really just for you guys, however you want to name your rooms. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the cultivation. And we're going to initiate a harvest. I'm going to take these guys here. Excuse me. I'm going to go one plant at a time. And I'm going to then select the harvest/cure button at the bottom middle of the screen. This will let you know that it needs to select the harvest notification. So once you select yes, that will then put a notifier on there, a status that it's harvest scheduled. You don't have to harvest at that time. You could just have the schedule on there, the status. You can now see it populated in the background. It says harvest scheduled. If you're ready to enter in the weights, you can. It'll be for this one barcode, the strain, and your flower wet weight. If we put in here, and I don't know, but I'm just going to make up some numbers in here. That is the wet weight for this plant. If you enter in any other material or waste in this section, that will generate an inventory barcode and place it in your inventory. It's not going to do that for the flower wet weight. It only applies for other material and waste at harvest. I'm going to go ahead and select finish and proceed. You'll see that that plant instantly goes into the drying phase. And there's no other way to get that drying phase except for to go through the harvest action. Once it's time, when everything has been trimmed, dried, and cured, and you're ready to put this in your inventory, you would then select it again, hit the harvest and cure button one more time, and now you can enter in your dry weight, your any other material, and waste. Again, my numbers aren't going to make sense, but that's okay. From here, you'll hit finish. At this point, the plant is no longer considered a plant. It is now inventory. We're going to batch it. It removes the plant from that screen. And if we go back over to inventory, we'll now have flower that'll be hanging up here. So you'll see this right here. Now, there's really nothing that you can do with flower. Flower needs to be lotted. So we're going to create the lot for your flower. This is also the same for other material as well. If you select the Create Lot button down at the bottom left hand, it'll give you the two options of creating a flower lot or an other material lot. When it pulls up the Create Lot Assistance box, you'll be able to select multiple lots. If there were multiple flower in here, we could actually combine them to get to a higher lot size. So if you have a mandatory lot size of, let's say, 15 pounds, you could then get it as close to 15 pounds as possible. You can test any other amount, but we are working with certain lot sizes. For training purposes, I'm just going to push this one through. So I'm going to select it and hit OK. Now right here, if this was over whatever your maximum lot size is, you could put in the correct amount. This is just the 800 grams. There's nothing to combine it with, so I'm just going to hit OK, which will then create the flower lot. Be able to see the flower lots here, just like this. Here's the one that I just did with the 800 grams. It is now a flower lot, and you are ready to get it tested. And when you want to pull a QA sample to have the lab test your lots, you can select the lot, and at the very bottom of the screen, you'll say QA testing. QA testing is different than sublot or batch. You never want to sublot your QA sample. To pull a correct sample, you want to select the lot that we want to test, hit QA testing at the bottom. From there, you can select the QA lab that you would like to send it to. Also, your sample quantity. So I'm just going to pretend 5 grams. It has the lab. Here's all the QA tests that are required for the flower lot, and hit OK. What happens is that it goes to pending QA, and it created our 5-gram QA sample. So these guys are attached to each other. It knows where it originated from. You can also find that on your QA assistance or your quality assistance tab up at the very top. Quick refresh. You'll see the sample time. The sample ID is the 2553, and the barcode or the parent that it's attached to for tracking purposes. So that way, when you send this sample to the lab, when they enter and attach the results, it goes to the parent lot. If for some reason you need to void this sample, after pulling it, you can. Bottom right-hand corner has void sample. If you were to select that, it would reverse the entire action. It would no longer be QA pending. It would just be standalone, and you could pull your QA sample again. That is with those guys. Now the sublot action, as I mentioned, is different. Sublot or batch is basically breaking up your batches. We'll use this 800, well, let's do 227. So on this guy here, if we have 227 grams, it has passed QA, and maybe you're going to send part of it someplace. They don't want all 227 grams, so you could then sublot. When you sublot, and I'm just going to sublot 50 grams out of here, it's going to create a brand new barcode. But from right here, you can see the QA passed forward. We still have the same amount in the system. They're just broken apart, and this one has a brand new barcode. For tracking purposes, it knows that this is where it originated. So it'll always go backwards. So you never want to sublot your QA sample. If you do, it's not going to go to the parent. Your QA results will not go to the parent lot. It'll only go to that sublot. Let's see. And we do have some undo options for the cultivation. You can see under from the administration cultivation, we have undo. Now, the only two that you can do from the undo action is your harvest notification and your destruction notification. So if you select the plant and go and initiate that harvest, so I'll select it, harvest, where it says right here that you need to initiate the harvest notification. If that was done incorrectly, you can undo that notification. And the same with the destroy. If you mark that plant for destruction, maybe it was the wrong plant, you can then undo the notification. If for some reason you cannot undo the notification and then it keeps that status on those plants, you will have to reach out to the state for approval for backend support from BioTrack. Now, if you entered in your weights wrong, because there's not an undo harvest action or an undo cure action, you do have a yield data correction. This will give you the start date and the end date. I'm just going to go ahead and hit OK. It'll actually show you what your dry or your wet was. So if these numbers were incorrect, you can actually fix that. Once you're done, you would hit OK, and that change would then be reflected. You go ahead and create manifest. Now, before you can create a manifest, of course, you need an employee on file and a vehicle. If you select employees here, you would then fill out with the name, employee ID, birth date, and hire date. You can see right here, we have different employees on file. You can also delete them, add more, and so on. With the vehicles, that's your vehicle that is going to be transporting product, same kind of workflow. You have the nickname down to the VIN. Please ensure that this information is accurate for compliance purposes. You'll also have your vendors. Vendors are different from the QA labs. QA labs is who's testing your product. Vendors is everyone else. With your vendors, you do have a preferred vendors list. When you first select this button, it takes you to your vendors list. So this is everybody that you've either gotten product from already, or it's somebody that you've already added from the preferred vendors list. If you select view all, it will then show you every single licensee in the state that has an active and approved license. So you can then filter through. The nice thing about the preferred vendors list, I'll just add this one as an example. Once you select it from the view all, it'll go in there. We see 117 Baker, we say okay. Now that is now available for us to manifest to. Now, if you select it and you delete it, we could then go back into the preferred vendors list, hit view all again, and find that vendor again. One thing to take note is please do not manually enter in your vendors. Please pull them from the preferred vendors list. If they are giving you a name and you cannot find them, ask for their license name, not their DBA. And if that still doesn't work, you may just have to sync your system, and you can sync from administration, synchronization, and all. And if that doesn't work, that could possibly mean that they just haven't been entered in on the state side yet. With vendors and vehicles and employees on file, you can create the transportation manifest. So if you select transport manifest on the right-hand side, you'll be given 3 different options. Regular means that you're going to be driving the product down the street. Pickup means they're going to come pick it up from you. And third-party transport manifest. They all basically look the same from each other. I'll show you that. So here's the regular, pickup, and third party. The biggest difference that you'll see is at the bottom of the screen. This is the third party, so it would then ask for a transport company. The pickup would ask for the vendor's employees' information, their driver and their vehicle, and the regular is all about you. From here, you can select the arrival destination where you're going to take your product to. I'm going to send it to my retail location, I suppose. If you get that initial error message, it just means that it can't connect to Google, and that's okay. Now, up here at the top, you have your departure, when you're going to be leaving your facility, and approximately when you should be arriving at that facility, and then the route. This should be your turn-by-turn directions. But from there, you can then put whatever you need to on the manifest. So down here at the bottom, if we are going to send that 50 grams of flour, I don't know what I have in here. And let's maybe 10 clones. Down here, you can then select the employee that's going to be driving and the vehicle. And if you're done, you can simply select generate the bottom left-hand corner. That will generate your transportation manifest. Actually, pull that up here, where it has your information, theirs, the driver's signature lines, your directions, and the batches that you're sending to that destination. Now, what happens is your product actually goes into your quarantine room. It's not out of your system. It's simply in a status of quarantine, so it's scheduled for transportation. If you go to your manifest tab up at the very top, you'll be able to see that manifest ID, and you'll see that it's quarantined. Bottom left-hand corner, you could view the manifest again. Maybe you forgot to print it or you need another one. You can modify the driver only, or you could simply void the manifest completely. If you're good to go and this is ready to leave, you can then go to transfer inventory, and I'd like to send an outbound shipment. All manifests are a 2-part step: create it and then transfer it. If this is ready to be transferred, you select it, hit OK. This was internal, so I sent it to my other location. So there's no prices included. It's all at 0 because it's an internal transfer. If you were to send this out to somebody that wasn't a part of your business, it would then allow you to enter in the sale prices per each line. And it's the grand total, not what one individual unit costs. So the total for all 10 or the total for all 50 grams. If we're done, we can hit OK. Now that quarantine status is going to change to shipped. So now this has been shipped. It's been sent over to the other vendor, other location. Now, if you realize that you made a mistake and it's shipped, you cannot void a shipped manifest. You'll get this error message every time. The manifest has already been shipped and cannot be voided. If the vendor has yet to accept the transfer into their system, you do have an opportunity to go to your transfers and void the transfer. By voiding the transfer, it'll then go back over into the quarantine tab the manifest tab as quarantined, allowing you to then void it and recreate it. If you get the error message that it's already been accepted and you cannot void the transfer, that means that the vendor accepted it. And if you need it back, they'll have to manifest it back to you in order for you to fix whatever mistake that you made. The manifest creation is the same manifesting to a dispensary as it is manifesting to a QA lab. Biggest difference, obviously, is that it's lab specific. So I did pull that QA lab. So the first one I did was a sale. This is what it looks like for sending out your QA samples. You'll want to find the lab that you created the sample for. And you'll see that this is the only item that pulls up. And that's because lab samples are made specifically for the lab that you chose. So if this is incorrect and we didn't want to send it to this BioTrack test lab, you would then want to void your QA sample from the quality assurance tab. Other than that, it's the same creation. Select when you're going to leave, when you approximately should arrive based off of the route. Select your sample, the employee that's going to be driving and in what vehicle, generate, and you'll see this manifest as exactly the same. You'll then again see it on the manifest tab. It's quarantined to the lab. And the same, I'd like to send an outbound shipment. To labs, there's also no cost associated as well, so it'll also be at 0. And then okay. And now the lab has the sample. It's been shipped, and then it'll be removed from your inventory completely. You won't see it. And once they enter in the test results that, like this guy right here where it says pending, that will change from pending to passed QA, and it'll have your QA results attached to the product, allowing you to then sublot it, convert it, or send it out to whoever you need to. And looking at the agenda, it looks like I have covered all workflows. Jason, is there anything else you'd like me to cover? Because I could keep going.
Oh, I know you could. No, I think that was great. I appreciate that. Thank you. I've been kind of keeping track of some of the questions. So the email to have the state reopen your window, we will include that when we send out the notes. The question was, how long is the window? The label in the system says it's a 30 or a 15-day window. Really, it's whatever the state sets. So it can be opened and closed whenever needed. Another question that came up, what if I don't have the cultivation tab? That would mean that the license you're logging in as does not have the correct license type assigned to it. You may be logging in as the wrong license type. You can switch locations, or if that doesn't work, you'd have to contact the state. Is this training only for the free version? Yes, it is. Will there be training for the paid version? Part of the paid version includes training sessions. If you did not receive those, I would talk to your supervisor to see if they have any left. Can micro producers sell seeds and clones? Honestly, I would have to read the regulations to answer that. What is other material? Other material is anything that is not flour and not waste. So it's going to be, say, the good example here would be sugar leaves, anything that you're going to further process to sell a THC-based product. Does it have to be tested? Yes, all product needs to be tested before it can be sold to a patient. The preferred vendor, if they don't appear. So what we've found is we've had an issue with this where people will enter manually in the vendor information. And if you don't enter it in exactly, the inventory then sort of disappears. So please use the preferred vendor list at all times.
Mhm.
Angela had mentioned back-end corrections. One of the big reasons we're actually holding these sessions is these back-end corrections, number one, they defeat the purpose of having a seed to sale kind of auditing and regulation system. They also take a large amount of time. Each like barcode or anything that our team needs to make a back-end correction for takes on an average 1 hour per barcode. So, you know, we get a call and somebody says, oh, I screwed up 30 barcodes. Well, that's a lot of work for our team. We don't want to be doing back-end corrections anymore. The real solution here would be, you're going to have to delete and start over to do it correctly. We are glad to help, walk you through that process. Another question, specific type of vehicle. I don't know. You'd have to check the regulations. I do know that, you have to have your vehicle entered into the seed to sale system as part of your license. Do you have to follow the directions on a manifest? It would behoove you to follow the directions on the manifest, just because if you get pulled over by law enforcement, they're going to look at that manifest. And if you're not, I would say, close to that path, you could be getting into some trouble. All right. Do I need to create a QA sample for each inventory type? Yes. I believe this question was related to keef. An other material lot, do I have to create a sample for, say, if I want to make keef? Yes, you do. And another note that the manifest defaults to the exact time now plus 24 hours. I see a question there. If new seeds are purchased, we need to reach out to the state to reopen the window to add them into inventory. Actually, if you're purchasing them from another licensee, then they should be able to transport them to you. If not, yes, you'd have to open the window. These questions are going by very quickly. How much does the paid version cost? Albert, if you want to email me, I'm sure I can put you in touch with our sales team. The pricing, I think, varies depending on what you do. Do second-year growers get another open window to enter seeded source materials? Jen Silverman, you can contact the state and just say, hey, we want to bring in new genetics, and they will open the window for you. How big does the sample have to be? That is, we don't enforce that information in the seed to sale system. It's something that I don't believe we do actually, but it's, in the state regulations. How do I get the paid version? Thomas Caruso. If anybody wants to get the paid version, they can just email me. I'll include my email address and I can put you in touch with our team. Can we see GPS for the route of the manifest? I don't believe that we do.
The manifest creation, there you're going to get that error message when you go to, well, that one didn't give it to me. Let me do a different one. This error message, the Google Maps reported the following: error request denied, just means that it's not connecting to Google to generate your turn-by-turn directions. So once you hit OK, you can absolutely type in the turn-by-turn directions right here. Now, once you generate it, the cool part is that it's going to save that route for future use. So you only have to enter it in once. Like this one here that I did to the retail location, I put turn-by-turn directions here, and that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to save it for your future use.
Oh, nice. I did not know that. All right. Is keef, shake, and trim other material? Yes, it is. Flower lot is only flower. Anything else that you're going to use that has THC in it that you're going to process is considered other material. Can you harvest more than one plant at a time? Not with the state provided solution. I heard I don't know the pricing. Why is RLD making it difficult for me to obtain a micro? I'm glad that you feel that it's easily understood. Unfortunately, we cannot help you with RLD and obtaining a license. Do you have to use BioTrack for tracking, accounting? Nope, you can use your own accounting software. This is just, seed to sale compliance. When will you allow multiple plants? So part of the issue here is that this is the free provided seed to sale software from the state. There's the business functionality is not built into it. This is just to remain compliant. The requirement was that we build out a system that anyone can use to remain compliant, and this is how we've done it. At what stage do you need to enter into BioTrack?
I would say you're going to want to enter in everything that you have.
Yeah.
If it's like initial inventory, enter in all your seeds that you have, all your clones that you have. Doesn't matter what stage they're in, you want them in, because once that window is closed, you'll then have to contact the state again to reopen that window to get it in. So if it's in your inventory, like these seeds, they can hang out as seeds for as long as you need them to. You don't have to pull all 20 into the grow house. Just pull the amount that you grew, that lived, that you want to show is in the cultivation potted in whichever room that they are in.
Yeah, and the best way to think about this is the data that you enter is what the state has access to. If an inspector comes to check out your facility, they're going to pull these reports, and if you've got something on your shelf, if you say you've got 50 seeds on and it shows that in the system, but in reality you've got 100, that's not going to make the inspectors happy. Yes, we will be posting the recording of this after. How do you switch plants between vegetative and flower? For that, you harvest. I think Marcos covered flash frozen. How will RLD audit users' BioTrack? Will they audit our individual systems? So the state has a different looking interface. They have the ability to pull reports and data from the data that you guys are entering into the traceability system. When you harvest multiple plants of the same strain, you only need one test for all of them, not every single plant. You're not testing plants, you'd be testing flower lots, and you can combine multiple plants of the same strain into one lot.
Mm-hmm.
We are forced to use, it's not by choice. Okay.
And for other material, you wouldn't test other material. Other material's sole purpose is to be converted into an intermediate product before it reaches the end product. So if you were to sell any other material to, like, let's say a processor, no, you would not need to test your other material. And also keep in mind, other material cannot be used to go into pre-rolls or pre-packs or anything like that. So if you have, let's say, something that you would normally put in as other material, but you want to make pre-rolls or something like that, put it a part of flower. Make that, because flower lots go into usable cannabis. Other material cannot go into usable cannabis. Other material, again, is solely for extraction purposes to create an intermediate product.
Right.
And to touch, I see a lot of people are talking about the price. We don't handle the prices of BioTrack. If you are currently a commercial BioTrack user, you would want to talk to maybe billing or sales, depending. We don't really know the cost of the monthly paid version, functionality and government side.
Yeah,
So.
I don't.
Yeah. I have no idea.
No. software I support is the free one. Are there out-of-state vendors that we can source seeds or plants for our inventory? You would have to talk to RLD about that.
And the
So what if,
conversion, oh, sorry, the conversion undo is from the administration, very similar like the cultivation undo. There's an inventory undo, undo destruction notification, and undo inventory conversion. Just make sure that if something that you need to do, you want to do it right away. If any modifications are done to that converted item, you cannot undo it.
does the manufacturer have the responsibility to test the other material? So you can test the other material. It would be kind of a non-mandatory testing. But then once, so say you test your other material just so you understand how potent it is so that you can then process it and get a better understanding of what you're going to do. End products are required to be tested, really.
There is two here. Somebody asked if you have flower lots that need to be destroyed due to mold. Yeah, so if you have flower lots and you need to destroy them, select the flower lot and use the destroy button down at the bottom of the inventory screen. You'll then choose your destruction choice and enter in notes. So if you need to destroy those flower lots, you can do so. The other question, going back to the phases from veg to flower. So this version does not have a like a phase button. So it's not something that you can manually change from any of the screens. To my knowledge, and maybe Marcos can correct me on that one, it's based off of the age on this platform. And you can see the age here by the days.
Yes, you can see the age, but there's
Is that how
still
the
no
phases work?
phases here.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
Yes,
Because
they're
it'll
going
show
to
you.
change automatically. It's not
Yep,
something that you can change yourself.
exactly.
Are,
Yeah, so you could just create different rooms for it, kind of like how I created the veg room. You can create a veg room, a flower room. And I mean, rooms can be literal, like your actual physical rooms, or they can be areas, locations. You can name them whatever you want. I've seen row one, field one, grow house, greenhouse, you name it. You can name it whatever you want to. It's just your pathway, your workflow.
Right, let's see. If a seed does not sprout, how do you take that out of inventory? The same way that you would do like a flower lot, right?
Yeah, you can either destroy it, and then in some cases you can adjust, but adjust is case by case.
Okay. All plants need an individual barcode. You can't inventory a tray of clones or seedlings under one barcode, correct? That is correct, I believe. Every plant needs its own barcode.
Can we go over the steps to batch flower into flower lot? Because I see a lot of questions in regards to harvesting one plant at a time and then having to test different or having to send different tests, which that's not the case. You can harvest and cure one plant at a time. You're going to get your flower, different flower batches, which you can then convert
Combine.
into a single flower lot.
I'll go through a couple of different harvest and cures while you guys are answering some questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
An example of why would you undo a conversion?
Quantities are wrong.
Yeah.
You put it, the usable is wrong.
Yep, you just, you made a typo. I'm a micro grower, can only have 200 flowering plants. Can I have my 200 flowering plants and then the next generation of vegging plants also entered in? That's a good question. Marcos, is it 200 total or 200 in the flowering phase? I believe it's 200 total. Right.
Yes, 200 total.
Okay.
All right, so real quick, I just harvested and cured 3 different plants. So you'll see that it comes into the inventory as 3 different barcodes of flower with different amounts. So when you create these into a lot, if you hit create lot down at the bottom and flower lot, you'll be able to see that these are all the same strain, which will then allow us to select them and create one flower lot from these 3 different flower barcodes. So we would be combining these, and right here it totals them up for you into 900. Now you don't have to do all of it. You could put different amounts in there, especially if you're trying to get as close to your lot maximum size. But since this is just 900 grams, I'm going to be putting those 3 flower barcodes into one with the create lot action. That will then create that one barcode as flower, and it goes into the system just like that. So I took the 3, put them together. And what is your lot size? I believe it's 15 pounds, but yeah, somebody said 15 pounds. And then from there, since I combined the 3, then you could pull the QA sample, because now it's not just one, you don't have to do it each one, so it's combined together. Now you can pull your QA testing for the grand total of 900 grams.
All right. Is the process of transferring flour to other facilities the same as sending other materials? Yes. Transferring any material, any inventory is the same throughout the system. All right. Let me go through my notes real quick. Oh, Santiago, hello. Can you show us how to batch lots together?
Yep, I just did that.
Oh,
Just did it. Okay,
nice
select
filter.
multiple barcodes. So you can select them just by selecting the side, and then if you need to print the barcode, you'd hit print, and then it would print each one. Same with the plant tags. You can print multiple plant tags at a time just by selecting them and then hitting print at the bottom. So it works the same way for both inventory and plants. I only get one printed at a time. Not sure on that one. I don't have like a printer connected or anything like that, but let's actually just hit that print barcode. Marcos, do you know if it's just one at a time, or is this misleading me?
I believe it's one at a time, actually.
Is it one at a time? So it lets you select them, but it's one at a time then. Is there a way to view inventory in the reports tab? So in the reports tab, you can pull your current inventory. And you can also choose your location and then view the report, and then it'll show you everything that you currently have in, down to the room plan ID, product name, everything.
Right. This, All right, I'm not seeing any more questions coming in, so I would like to thank everyone for attending. We will post this video out. We will share it with RLD. We will be sharing it out as soon as it uploads. Thank you, everyone. And maybe we'll see some of you guys at our next session in a few hours. Thank you.